Hey guys, it's Alyssa Marie, your intuitive reader. I hope you all are having a fantastic day. Today we're going to be talking about the difference between the path of the circle and the path of the spiral. But before we get into that, it would help me out so much if you guys click subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future content. I try my best to make a video and release a video every Tuesday and Thursday. If you're interested in a personal reading, the link to my Etsy is down below. I also sell crystals, guided meditations, oracle decks, etc., and also the link to my Instagram. So let's go ahead and get started. So, the path of the circle versus the path of the spiral. Now, I want you to see that both of these paths, both of these shapes, is symbolic of one's life. So, imagine you are here and you are traveling through life itself. Here you are, age 2, age 10, whatever. You're just traveling through life. Same here. Now, what I've channeled is that the vast majority of people on the planet are in the path of the circle. There are a lot fewer people in the path of the spiral. The path of the spiral is one of a higher dimensional way of living and thinking, and we're going to talk about that. So the problem with the path of the circle, while it's still valid, is that most people will have something happen to them in life, and they will continue to go on with life in a circle. They will continually follow the same path. Someone broke my heart here and I'm coming back around, I'm doing good, and oh look, a new person who has the same characteristics. I don't realize it, but I continue with that person and the same thing happens to me. This is very common because many people don't realize that they're on the path of the circle. Many people don't realize that they're repeating the same relationships, they're repeating the same habits, patterns, addictions, because they're not being totally self-aware. And we're going to talk more about that. So what this creates, the path of the circle, is it creates an everlasting loop of suffering, personal suffering. And many people, again, are not aware of this. They're not aware that they're suffering. They're not aware that the cause of their suffering is due to this type of life. So let me talk about the spiral then. So the spiral is different because notice how you're going along life and you're coming out. See this? You're coming out. Now, let's say you're here in life, okay? Look at these other rings. 1, 2, 3 rings that you can see from where you're at. The difference of the path of the spiral is that the person is seeing their mistakes and being self-aware of what has happened in their life previously so that they don't repeat it, okay? And that's hard. But so for example, when they're looking here, they're saying, okay, you know what, like the same example we had over here, so and such, I was with a narcissist and I'm viewing this, I'm looking back at my situation, I'm reflecting, and I'm seeing that, now that I look back, this relationship that I'm about to enter is very similar to this relationship I had with the narcissist. And so in doing the self-reflection, you're already on the path of the spiral. People that are on the path of the circle are actually not very self-aware. They don't take the time to look inward, and that's not a bad thing. It's just a common thing. It's just a lower dimensional way and more physical way of existing on planet Earth, okay? So I want you to try to enter the path of the spiral. Most of you, if you even clicked on this video, you're probably in the beginning stages of the path of the spiral. If you're somebody who actually sits down and thinks about what you want to say before you say it, you're somebody who reflects on how you handled a situation, you're somebody that tries to grow, you're going to be on the path of the spiral. But if you're somebody who is, something happened and you're like, well, you know what, it happened to me. We get in this victim mentality. It happened to me, and so whatever, I'm pushing it away. That's the path of the circle. This happened to me, rather, I experienced this, it happened to me, And what am I going to do about it? Do you see what I'm saying with that? And so with the path of the circle, you like I said, you get into this everlasting cycle of suffering. So to reach the path of the spiral is to begin to be more self-aware and conscious of your life, of your reality. The path of the spiral is to transcend. The path of the spiral is to look inward and realize that a lot of our own suffering is because of ourselves. It's to look inward to see why our reality is the way it is. Someone in the path of the circle would constantly blame the external reality for the way that they feel. And we do know that happiness is a choice, okay? Happiness is a choice, and many of our emotions are a choice. And if you can't, right, with the path of the circle, if you're somebody who is constantly looking out and you're like, okay, I'm suffering, I'm sad because this person did that, because this person did that, because this happened to me, while that's still valid, again, it's valid, it is a lesser dimensional way of thinking and living life. Because when you're doing that, you're not being self-aware. You're not looking inward. You're not seeing, what can I do myself to change the way my reality is. People that project, okay, they project their feelings and, their repressed trauma onto other people. Path of the circle. People who do feel, that are very aggressive, people that are violent, okay, they're on the path of the circle. And like any cycle, okay, notice how this is a cycle. You hear the term vicious cycle, okay? This is like a vicious cycle. Because, here's the thing though. If you're on the path of the circle, okay, you as in the general sense, you don't have to complete the path of the circle. You can jump to the path of the spiral. You can say bye-bye circle and you can jump to the spiral. Just because you're in the path of the circle doesn't mean you have to continue being in the path of the circle. And the first step to becoming the path of the spiral, to jumping to the path of the spiral, is the hermit mode, is going inward, is looking at your triggers, is seeing what's bothering you and understanding that a lot of what's bothering you is made by self, and that the reflection, the mirror reflection of your reality is usually of your internal self. Like your internal self is the reflection of your external and vice versa. But this is not only just because of the individual level. This is the human collective level, okay? So the human collective is still on the path of the circle, I feel. But they are really, in recent years, we're trying to jump to the path of the spiral, okay? And you can help the human collective jump from the path of the circle to the spiral by doing what I just talked about, okay? So I hope that made sense. I know it's a short video, but I hope it really makes sense. You can go ahead and you can look more about this online. I just saw these two symbols in my social media feeds, and people very briefly mentioned it, but I wanted to give my own take on what it meant to me. So I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.